So I'm on the road again. I am in Georgia and headed to Colorado for my very first elk hunt. I'm extremely excited. I've got the truck loaded down with gear, headed towards Atlanta. Not looking forward to the Atlanta traffic, but once I get through there, I'm gonna drive through the night. I just work night shift. So I do shift work in nuclear operations, but I'm headed out to Colorado to pursue elk for about 10 days. So I've got a unit picked out. I've done a ton of e-scouting on base maps, and I'm gonna stop off in Colorado Springs and visit my aunt and uncle, start to get a little acclimated to the elevation. They're at about 5,000 feet, and then I'll be headed up to 8,000 and hunting anywhere from 8 to 11,000. So fingers crossed, no elevation sickness or anything like that, but I'm going to give the elk all I got. I've got calls, I've been practicing, I've been shooting my bow every day, I've been running, I've been lifting, rucking, I've been working on my fitness. So I'm hoping that that won't be a weak link when I'm in the mountains. I know the Rockies can be brutal, so I'm really looking forward to this experience because I've never elk hunted before, and to do it with archery equipment on an over-the-counter tag in uncharted territory for myself, it's gonna be a daunting task. But I have 10 full days that I'm gonna give it hell. I've got a backpack with all the backcountry gear, lightweight as I can get set up. Obviously camera gear is gonna add some weight, so I'm gonna be hiking around with camp on my back. I'll change locations as I need to. If I need a break, I'll get an Airbnb. But other than that, I'm gonna keep you guys updated. I'm hitting the road. It's got about a 27-hour drive to where I'm going to hunt, so this ain't my first rodeo as far as DIY long road trips. I went to Montana earlier this year. I've got a bear hunt you can check out. I did not seal the deal on a bear, but I came across a large cinnamon bear. So I also have a Colorado bear tag. So if I come across a black bear while elk hunting, I'll have a tag for it. So stay tuned. I'm gonna keep you guys updated the whole way. Let's go.
Because 2 is for driving, 4 is for calling, and that's assuming you're not looking for a wounded bull or packing meat, which I hope you are, or just other things go wrong, need to get to town and call wife. She said, sent me a message to get a hold of her. You know,
elk shape, let's go.
Always happens. Elk hunting. There's always going to be things and drama. It just is what it is. So
all right, I'm in Colorado Springs. We have laid eyes on the Rockies, and I honestly thought that they would have been a little rockier than this. But we're here. We're headed way back in there, but first gonna stop off at my aunt and uncle's, spend the night, and then I'll have about 4 or 5 hours to the unit that I'm gonna hunt for the next 10 days. So last taste of civilization, and then I'll be chasing down the elk. getting all my gear ready. Got the bow, Got the pack already loaded down with 3 days worth of food. Bino harness, just put the broadheads in. I'm gonna go ahead and check my bow, make sure it's good to go. So I got the morel down there. Gonna go shoot a few arrows and make sure everything's on. Other than that, I'm gonna get packed up and I'm gonna head that way. I have a bugle tube and I have cow calls, but I'm probably not gonna do too much calling just because I'm a complete amateur noob that's never elk hunted before. So I'm just gonna listen a lot. Hopefully they're gonna start spicing up the activity and doing a lot of calling and bugling since the rut's about to kick off pretty hard here. So we'll see what happens. Man, they were not joking. There's no amount of training that can prepare you for this. All the deadfall, 40 to 50 pounds on your back, camera equipment, and I'm just getting started. Look what we have here. Got a pretty big bed. Poop's pretty old, but it is matted down. Definitely gives these animals an advantage. Whatever's bedding here, looks like two big beds. Got a long way to go. Gotta keep trekking. A rain shower. I'm gonna let this pass over, and then I'm gonna keep making the climb. This terrain is absolutely brutal. When you're looking at a topographic map, things look a lot easier than they actually are to navigate. So I've made it about 3/4 of a mile in about 3 hours. So I've got a ways to go to get to some higher elevation. I haven't heard any bugling. I've been seeing a lot of sign, a lot of like wallows, a lot of poop, a lot of beds down in the lower stuff. I just can't really tell if any of it's that fresh. I think they're gonna be at some higher elevations, so I'm gonna keep hiking and camp up a little higher and then make the final push up to some dark timber up around the 10,000 foot range. If I actually kill one up there, it's gonna be quite the undertaking to get it back to the truck. So I guess that's what I signed up for. Oh man, it is glorious out here. It is beautiful country. Made it about 1.5 miles and it's getting close to dark. We got about an hour or two left, but it is so quiet. That storm came through and now it is just, you can hear a pin drop, so I'm not gonna talk for too long. I'm gonna make my way down to this creek, get some water, set up the tent, and keep listening and watching. Day 3 here, just woke up in the old single person tent. We gotta get dressed, and then I didn't fill up water last night, so I got the creek right down there. I gotta go filter and run the Sterapin on some water.
Then I've got a couple hundred more feet in elevation to climb and check out some more areas. Ran into 3 or 4 cow elk last night coming down a trail. There's sign everywhere, there was crap everywhere, just nothing was making any noise, and I was just easing down a trail and they jumped up and took off, so nothing's really talking. So that can be kind of frustrating, but just got to keep on putting in the time, putting in the hours, and listening. I haven't been doing much calling, just a little bit of cow calling here and there, just to mask any kind of noise I'm making. I did a couple bugles yesterday, no response, so gonna keep trying and see what happens. Alright, got the Steripin, got the Sawyer squeeze filter, and 3 Nalgene's. Throughout camp, I'm about to go down to this creek to fill up. Nothing's talking. I'm not the world's best bugler, but they're not even bugling on their own. I haven't heard a single bugle since I've been here, so just gonna keep covering ground, let out a bugle every once in a while. I spooked an elk, I don't know what it was, when I was just walking from setting up camp, or from tearing down camp. I was walking along that creek bed, and I heard something just take off through the woods, smashing tree limbs and stuff, so it sounded big. It was probably a cow, but I have not heard any elk vocalizations as of yet. I don't know if that's due to severe hunting pressure. It was just muzzleloader season here in Colorado, so it's been a quiet morning. The wind's picking up, and I'm making my way to higher elevation, but it's slow going. I can only go like 50 yards, and then I gotta just stop for a minute and catch my breath. It's brutal up here in the Rockies. Well, bugled in 2 hunters, so I guess that's a good sign. They said they decided to come to my bugle versus another hunter's bugle, so first time elk hunting and I'm bugling in hunters, so I guess it sounds a little bit real, but probably still sucks. But anyway, they said they ran into another hunter down there in the creek, and they ran into hunters up high at like the 11,000 foot range, so it sounds like this place is pretty well swamped. I think I'm gonna give it one more night and then bomb back down to the truck and then relocate. So it's hard to get away from pressure, especially in an over-the-counter unit. So gonna keep trying. There's a ton of elk sign in this area, and I've stumbled across cows. I just haven't seen any bulls or heard any real bulls, so gonna keep at it. It can be kind of frustrating, and you can definitely get a little bit down on yourself when you're out here alone and you're busting your butt trying to find elk. So at the end of the day, it's Colorado, it's over the counter, it's gonna be tough, and I honestly don't expect to shoot a bull. So no, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna give it my best shot. There's no point in coming up here and then not trying. So I know the odds are against me. It's about a 10% success rate in this unit. So figured I'd pick one that was middle of the road for my first time and just get up in the Rocky Mountains and hopefully get on some elk. So I've seen cows and I've been seeing sign everywhere. Just got to find the bulls and less hunters. So I'm gonna keep at it. All right, just took a little lunch break. Took some product photos. Shout out to those hunters that I met. If it was you, I think you guys were from Vermont, but leave a comment below. It was a pleasure to meet you guys. It's always fun meeting new people and, you know, meeting people that share the same passion. So some people get fed up with seeing other hunters, but it's public land. You know, it's what you sign up for. So don't get mad when you see other people out here. Say hey, and then go on your merry way. Got a little bit of a roadblock. Crazy cows blocking the path. I'm trying to go hunt some elk. And I basically decided to pull out, go down to the truck. So I ended up night hiking out, and here's where the story gets a little bit crazy. It was getting dark, and I decided I was gonna go back to the truck and camp there, then relocate to a different area. And as I was coming down the mountain, I was going back through that thick, nasty bottom, and I caught a set of glowing yellow eyes in my headlamp, and sure enough, it was a mountain lion at about 40 yards. And so I was making noise, talking loudly, and that mountain lion was staying put, just kind of looking at me. So I was trying to ease on by. The terrain funneled me through that area, and I didn't really have much choice but to just kind of slide by the mountain lion. And then I caught a second set of yellow eyes glowing in my headlamp at only 10 yards. And that mountain lion started moving. It took 3 crouching steps towards me. I drew my pistol, chambered around, had it pointed right between its eyes, and started yelling at it, and started sidestepping. So I only saw 2 mountain lions, but I sidestepped my way out of there, and then as soon as I could, I dove off down a creek bottom, crossed the creek just to get some separation between me and the lions. I was shining my light behind me every so often just to make sure that they weren't following me. It was insane. But the detour after I crossed the creek took me through some of the craziest deadfall that I'd been through yet on this trip. I mean, I'm talking like 4 or 5 trees stacked on top of each other that you would have to climb over, and then you would basically have to do all of that all over again within 10 feet. So it took me 6 hours to get off the mountain. So I'm really glad I did not shoot any elk up there. I definitely learned that the maps make things look a lot easier to access than they are. You know, everybody says stay away from trailheads, but if you do stay away from a trailhead, you're gonna be bushwhacking your way in through thick, nasty crap. And so when you're solo, getting an elk out of there would have been an absolute nightmare, and I don't think I would have been able to
get all the meat out in time. I mean, it took 6 hours to get down. I got back to the truck around midnight, 12:30-ish, just completely wore out. And I was just carrying camp on my back and about a 50-pound pack with camera gear and stuff. So it was a big wake-up call. I decided to pull the plug on that area and kind of realign my tactics. So I'm gonna start looking for stuff that's closer to the road, try and find some overlooked pockets. I'm gonna be driving roads a lot today, just figuring out my plan B situation. Got an Airbnb for the night just to kind of rest and recover after that terrifying experience with the mountain lions. That was quite unexpected. So just be safe out there, carry a sidearm, carry spray, you know, do what you got to do, because you never know when you're going to be that next statistic. So I said my prayers. God definitely got me through. So you know, I'm very thankful to be here today, still hunting. So it didn't take all of the wind out of my sails, but I had to hit the reset button and just kind of figure out something more reasonable. When you're out here by yourself, you gotta think a lot more strategically, since you're not gonna have help. So I got about 5 more days, going to just keep at it, hopefully find another area. Just gonna do a quick scouting mission. Parked right down there, and I'm headed up to that point up there. I'm just gonna glass, see what I can see from that hillside. It kind of looks like it might be an overlooked area, so we'll see if we can see a good ways, and then I may set up there in the evening and glass for the night, just to see if anything's coming out that I can make a play on. Alright, it's a nice cool morning. I'm headed up into some timber. I'm gonna do a little soft cow calling and just cruise this area, see if I can get anything to talk. Beautiful morning. Couldn't ask for better weather. Crispy, chilly, nice sunrise. Colorado, it's something else. This deadfall is insane. You can barely walk around through here. It's just thick brush and Alright, so for brunch, I have Peak Refuel. It wouldn't be a Hunt Solo public film without a little bit of Peak Refuel for breakfast. So this is the biscuits and sausage gravy, and this is by far my favorite meal that they make. 34 grams of protein per pouch. It's got 1,100 calories, so make sure you're hungry because it's a lot of food. Starbucks Italian roast.
So I got into elk last night and had a cow come right down to there. She was about 60 yards, and that's what I ranged her at, but I got everything ready with my bow. She kept looking over her shoulder. I was hoping that maybe a bull would come behind her, so I passed on the cow, but it got dark quickly after that, and I figured this would be a good spot to camp. So I was kind of sleeping on top of a lump all night, so it was not as flat as I thought, but nevertheless a really cool spot to camp. So I'm about to pack up, and then hopefully I can. Oh yeah, and I there was a bull that was bugling back over that way, and that's why I kept waiting, but he never came over this way. So well, hopefully I can strike up some bugles and find some bulls today.
One thing I'll say is it is either super windy or it's like dead quiet, so it's really hard to hunt. At least right now. I'm hoping that the wind dies down for this evening. I've been covering ground all day, a couple miles. Ran into some sheep herders, and that was kind of weird, but yeah, there's all kinds of folks up here in the Colorado Rockies, so should be prepared. You might run into some oddballs, but I mean, these views are hard to beat. This wind isn't dying down, it's just ripping. So I found a big rock to chill on, so I think I'm just gonna hang out here. Brought my Bible. I come on these trips a lot just to honestly reconnect with God in a new way. When life gets busy and stuff, I just like to come to the mountains, unplug from everything, your day-to-day life, and I feel like you can really connect with God through creation. So I'm going to spend a little time in God's Word, and then I'm going to get back to hunting, hopefully once this wind dies down. But we're just going to take a little siesta, a little rest and relaxation, and then it's back to the elk. That was tempting. I just had a cow come within like 5 to 10 yards broadside. I was thinking about shooting her at 40, but then I noticed she had a calf with her, really young looking calf, so it was tempting. I mean, I know it's perfectly ethical to kill a cow, but I try not to kill them when I see babies with them. Just, I don't know, personal choice, but being late in the hunt and having a perfect opportunity like that, that was very tempting, kind of tough to pass up. So I don't think I'll regret it though. I'm only a quarter mile from the road too, so that would have been really easy, but maybe I'll get into a bull. Let's hope so. All right. Alright, I'm at a new spot. I decided to come back to the truck last night and I relocated. I'm at like 10,000, in between 9 and 10,000 feet elevation. So I haven't seen any other trucks up this road. It was really steep and nasty getting up here, but it looks like I should be able to access the backside of some private land on the national forest still, but there's a big chunk of private land up here, and it looks like I'm able to kind of, if I can just rope around, I should be able to cut back into some pretty good high timber. So I'm just gonna get back in there and spend at least one night, if not two. Got everything loaded down. If I get another opportunity at a cow, I may or may not let one fly, but I did come here to hopefully kill a bull, so I'm gonna stick to my goal on that one and just keep pushing. I got about two nights left, and then I gotta start head back towards Georgia, so hopefully something will happen here, and if not, it's been an incredible trip, so we'll see what happens. Just had a good lunch break. So here in the pack I keep a little green stuff sack, and in that I'll have individual days portioned out. So this is like 1 day worth of food, about 3,500 calories, I want to say, and it's got all sorts of high sugar, high carbs, high protein. It's got a bunch of calories. I don't normally eat that much, but when you're hiking up freaking mountains and stuff, you're burning a lot of calories. So yeah, that's what I do. I just individually package it into Ziploc bags, and I have one Ziploc bag per day, and then put in the green sack, and then that goes up there in the pack, and that's going to be your heaviest stuff. It's going to be your food and your water. So other than that, I don't have much in here other than a sleeping bag, a tent, some camera gear, tripod, some calls. I can do a whole pack dump video later, but for now I'm going to focus on trying to find a bull. Nothing making noise today, so I got back in here about 1.5 miles. I already set up my tent up there, but I can glass all of that. I've got several hundred yards that I can kind of watch tonight. That was a bust. Not a complete bust. Well, the evening hunt, ended up seeing a mule deer doe, and then I heard some cow calling, some ewes coming from behind me, and I made my way over there and never saw what was making the noise before it got dark. So it sounded like a real cow though. I guess I was ready for a shot, but no shot presented itself. So we have tomorrow morning. I'll hunt my way back to the truck. I've kind of checked out this area. It's okay, but the last day I'm just going to go back to where I've had the most encounters, and it actually happens to be not super far from the road. So about a 1/2 mile to 1 mile in is where I've been hunting that area, and it seems to be getting overlooked. So there are elk there. So I'm gonna go give it a try. One last shot tomorrow. Alright. Just hunting my way out and back up to the truck. Here she is. Sight for sore eyes. Well, that's all she wrote, folks. Last night I was able to get on a 3x3. I was walking in, made it only like 300 yards from the road. I was going up a really steep embankment and I heard a bunch of crashing through the timber, so I took off as fast as I could, quietly as I could, like towards the top, and I looked down and there's a 3x3 bull running. And I think he heard me or smelled me. I don't know which one, but he was running towards the road, and then he stopped, and I started cow calling just to kind of hopefully calm him down, and he kept walking off. So I spent all last night just trying to figure out where he went and stalk through the timber and hopefully shoot him nice and close to the road, but it didn't play out. I ended up setting up in an area and had a bunch of intersecting trails, and I was just running out of time and I couldn't locate that bull. So I set up, nothing happened, came back, camped, and this morning I just did a big mile or two loop through a new area and didn't see any animals. Really good morning hike though. Good way to finish off the trip. So I'll tell you guys, it's tough. DIY OTC solo public land Colorado, it's a challenge. I mean, it's something that you've got to enjoy the process, and you've got to be okay with the fact that you probably will not shoot your dream bull on a hunt like this. I just wanted to get experience. I knew that, hey, just get a tag, get out there, romp around the mountains for 10 days, and I had opportunities. I had multiple opportunities at cows that I could have shot. So if you're out here just looking to, cut your teeth and arrow a cow or something like that, then come on out here. I think this might be the last year that Colorado does over the counter. So, which, this is a good first hunt. It's a good way to get some experience, learn how to elk hunt, learn what they do, where they like to be, and then the next time you can apply for maybe a draw unit or something like that and keep going. So that's my game plan, is hopefully I'll draw Montana next year, and then I'm going to start building up points and some more preferable units. But I mean, there's something to be said about getting out here and elk hunting in Colorado. It's awesome. The experience is what makes it. It's just the fall colors gave me a good break from the Georgia heat, and I got a lot of good hunting experience in living out of a backpack, and that's stuff you got to practice. You can't just read an internet article and dial in your pack setup. You need to figure out what works for you. Pack stuff. Like the first day I packed in, I immediately was like, nope, too heavy, and I started taking stuff out. I took out my spotting scope, I took out all sorts of other crap. I was like, you know what, I don't need it, I gotta cut weight. So it really helps you dial in the right pack weight. I was probably sitting around 40 pounds once I got it dialed in, and that's including camera equipment, and a lot of that stuff just weighs a lot. So you got to be in good physical shape to just hike around these mountains with that kind of weight on your back all day, 24/7, and be able to shoot your bow accurately with all that crap on. So anyway, great trip. I'm glad you guys watched the video. If you enjoyed following me through this experience, there's definitely more to come. I'm gonna film all of my whitetail hunts this year, and basically any hunt from now on. I'm gonna have a camera with me, and I'm gonna document it. Successes, failures, everything in between, tips, lessons learned. I'm gonna cover it all. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share, and I hope you guys will be back for the next one. Hunt solo public.